Okay, calling the 10 a.m. meeting to order. This meeting, including the audio and video of remote participants, is being streamed live on YouTube. You will find links to viewing options for all Senate meetings on the live and on-demand video page of our website. In the unlikely event we have to end this hearing due to technical difficulties, the committee will reconvene on Monday, April 6, 10:30 in this room. A public notice will be posted on our website. We would appreciate testifiers stand on their written testimony as the committee has received and reviewed your written comments. For those participating remotely, your audio will be muted and video disabled until it is your turn to testify. In an effort to accommodate as many testifiers as possible, we will be enforcing a 1-minute limit on verbal testimony. A timer will be visible for testifiers. If there are temporary glitches during your turn to testify, we may have to move on to the next person due to time constraints. We appreciate your understanding and remind you that the committee has your written testimony. I'll be reading a list of people who submitted written testimony for each measure. We apologize if the closed captioning does not accurately transcribe your names. Okay. House Bill 1800. Civil Air Patrol, Hawai'i. School Facilities Authority. Aloha Stadium. Yeah. Well, this is it. Roll call. What do you, I'm calling you because you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Chief Ujitani from the School Facilities Authority.
Did you, what are you doing? Sending on your testimony? Or
Yes, we're sending on testimony.
Okay, thank you. Executive Office on Early Learning.
Yeah.
Thank you. Department of Education. University of Hawaii.
Morning, Chair, members, Louis Oliveria, Vice President, CFO, University of Hawaii. We all stand on our testimony and support. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe you should have went first. Early Learning Board.
Aloha from Maui, Elaine Yamashita, Chair. We stand on our testimony. Mahalo.
Thank you. Department of Labor.
Morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. Jake Woodhead for DLR. We stand on our testimony strong.
Thank you. Kirk.
Mike Nolby, Executive Director, Kaho'olawe Island Reserve Commission. On behalf of the Commission, we support the measure and we ask for the generosity of the committee for the 50th anniversary of the landings on Kaho'olawe to help sponsor and fund our Kaho'olawe Rehabilitation Center. So we're just looking for CIP money. If there's anything left over, we'll take that, and we're coming with hat in hand. So thank you very much.
Thank you. D. Hurd.
Chair, Vice Chair, members, Brian Bruno, Deputy Director, DHERD, we stand on our.
Thank you. Disability and Communication Access Board. Corrections. Yeah.
Adoption Director, DTR. We stand in support. Thank you.
Thank you. Ag and Biosecurity.
Chair, members of the committee, Sharon Hurd, Department of Agriculture and Biosecurity, standing in support.
Thank you. DOT. Thank you. Attorney General.
Vice Chair.
Thank you. Office of Planning. Library System. Thank you. Business Development and Support Division. Green Infrastructure Authority. HHFDC. Department of Health.
Stand on our written testimonies.
Thank you. Law Enforcement Standards Board. Department of Taxation.
Good morning, Gary Sugan, Taxation Department stands on its written testimony support.
Thank you. DCCA.
Morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, the department stands on its testimony support, offer comments.
Thank you. Office of Wellness.
Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, Tia Hartsock, Director, Office of Homeless Resilient, please stand on our report. Thank you.
Thank you. Public Housing Authority. Creative Industries. BNF.
Good morning, ENF stands in support of this bill.
Thank you. Office of the Governor.
Aloha, good morning. Will Kane, Office of the Governor. We stand in support and we offer comments for 2 items. Mahalo.
Thank you. Hawaii Law Enforcement Standards Board. DAGS.
Chair, Vice Chair, members, Keith Regan, Comptroller for the Department of Accounting and General Services. We stand on our written testimony in support.
Thank you. Charter School Commission. DLNR.
Hello, Ryan Panapore, on behalf of UNR, we stand on our written testimony in support.
Thank you. DOE.
Morning, Brian Howlett, on behalf stands on this.
Thank you. Green Fee Advisory Council.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. This is Carmela Rosuma from the Green Fee Advisory Council. We stand on our written testimony and are available for any questions. Mahalo.
Thank you. DHHL. Thank you. Office of Homelessness.
We stand on their written support. Thank you.
Thank you. DBED.
Morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members, DBED stands in strong support of a written testimony, and some of the earlier agencies that you mentioned here are outside and we stand on and they stand on their testimony.
Thank you. DHS.
Ryan by DHS stands on this in support. Thank you.
Thank you. Hawaii State Council on Developmental Disabilities. Green Fee Advisory Council. Jeff.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair Jeff Michelina, Chair of the Green Fee Advisory Council. The council went through a rigorous process throughout the fall to develop the recommendations before you to fulfill the mandate of Act 96 from last year. Just want to reinforce that the projects were prioritized not only for impact, but for their ability to responsibly deploy funds within the fiscal timeline and leverage existing agency and community capacity. The resulting portfolio reflects a prevention-focused strategy that really reduces long-term costs to the state by investing in mitigation, resilience, and stewardship today. We hope that the committee is able to advance the recommendations as you have them in House Bill 1800, and I'm available for questions. Mahalo.
Thank you. Department of Defense. Okay, County of Maui.
Good morning. Director of Environmental Management. On behalf of the County of Maui, we strongly support this measure and stand by our written testimony, which supports the Central Maui Wastewater Reclamation Facility. Thank you.
Thank you. Spirit Horse Ranch. West Hawaii region of HHSC.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, Clayton McGann, CEO, West Hawaii Region, HHSC. Stand on our written testimony. Thank you.
Thank you. HHSC. Holomua. Okay, wastewater alternatives and innovations. Catholic Charities. Oh, go ahead. I don't know what happened to them. Yeah, go ahead. Thank you. Kupu. HTDC.
Stands on its testimony in support.
Thank you.
Right, can I go for Kupu, stand on our written testimony here?
Thank you. Kaehu. Enchanted Lake Residents Association.
Gregory Colbert, President of the Enchanted Lake Residents Association. I would like to take some time to.
Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, I'd like to thank all the lawmakers who supported this important initiative. And I'd like to talk about a project that may not have been included among the recommendations of the advisory panel, but this is an important project. This is the dredging of Ke'alepulu stream, a 500-foot section of the stream that has a shoal that blocks water from escaping from Ke'alepulu Pond down the stream. In this most recent flood, the lake level of Ke'alepulu Pond, also known as Enchanted Lake, rose to a very significant level. It overran some of the seawalls, invaded some of the yards. We, the Enchanted Lake Residents Association, have been planning a project for several years. We have worked with Oceanit to do all the planning. We've obtained the necessary Army Corps of Engineer permits. We've gotten concurring approval from the State Department of Health. We're simply sitting in a situation where we're needing more funds to complete the project appropriately. We're asking for $700,000 of funds. We would note that in 1994, there was a hydrology study done that said that the stream that goes from Ke'alepulu Pond out to the ocean can support flood mitigation for this windward area, but it needs to be 8 foot deep through that stream. There's a plug area due to some sedimentation and also a result from when the lake was initially created. They had a sort of a berm area that they used for blocking off some water. That
Please,
depth,
you just summarize or conclude.
that depth is only 1 foot deep. And so there's a significant risk to the residents in that area. I'd like to show, for instance, a map or a picture of the water rising up above sea levels, encroaching into some yards. It didn't make it all the way into some houses, so luckily we didn't have that particular thing. But if the intensity in our area had been the same as Wailua, we would have had some catastrophic flooding.
Who owns the stream?
The stream is owned by a nonprofit, which is the Enchanted Lake Residents Association. I would note that we are not a homeowners association. We are a 503c7 social club that took over the lake from Bishop Estate in 1987 in order to preserve the lake itself. And so that area is owned by a nonprofit.
Okay.
Just a question, short question. Thank you for being here. The city and county, did you ask them as well to participate in funding this project? Reason I say that in the early, the creation of that subdivision was built in the 60s and the 50s. It was built on floodplain zone. So the housing were built on a floodplain zone. I'd like to reiterate my position, which was approved by the city and county. So I'm just asking if you also have asked the city for partial funding.
We have, and
have you heard?
We've gotten a non-committal, not a definite no, but certainly not a yes. And the 1994 hydrology study was done by the city, and the 8 foot depth was put in a footnote in the back because they kind of.
Yeah, we're sorry for the problems you're experiencing now, but thank you so much.
Okay.
Your residential association has been very good about helping each other. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
And I would note that hopefully
Thank you.
you could come up with some funds. Thank you.
Commission on the Status of Women.
Hi, yes, good morning, everyone. The commission will stand on its written testimony and thanks the committee for their consideration and support.
Thank you. Kahana Bay Steering Committee. Mike Nugent. Grassroots Hawaii. Climate Hawaii. Hawaii Search and Rescue Alliance. Oh, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Dela Cruz, Vice Chair Moriwaka, and committee. I want to just, I'll be brief, but I do want to emphasize the testimony of Climate Hawaii. I'm the chair of Climate Hawaii. It's a diverse coalition of business, government, and nonprofit leaders focused on addressing Hawaii's growing climate challenge. We stand in strong support of the funding proposals from the Green Fee Advisory Council. We think that the process was a very comprehensive and thorough process to identify some of the high priority climate projects for the state. I do want to emphasize that our testimony today is submitted not just by the leadership of Climate Hawaii, but everybody that is listed on the testimony specifically signed on to it, including such diverse organizations as Outrigger Hotels, Zephyr Insurance, Power Hawaii, as well as the Nature Conservancy, Hawaii Green Growth, Kobayashi Group. And we strongly recommend your support of the funding as recommended.
Thank you. Christina Holt. Okay, anyone else wishing to testify on House Bill 1800?
Yes, you skipped over
Go
me.
ahead.
Rosemary, hi, this is Rosemary Johnson. I am the director of the Hawaii Search and Rescue Alliance. Aloha, Chair Dela Cruz, Vice Chair, and committee members. Thank you very
Can you turn
much.
on
And yes,
your
oh,
camera?
I'm sorry. There you go. And I stand on my written testimony, and with I just would like to add that in light of the Koaloa storms and the Maui wildfires, that this state search and rescue coordinator is more urgent than ever and should be considered a disaster response priority. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, I just have a question for, well, I have a couple questions. Oh, go ahead. You can state your name.
Oh, good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. HHSC stands on our written testimony and support. I think there may have been a little bit of a technical difficulty when you called us. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else wishing to testify? Okay, quick question for you, H.
Good morning, Chair.
Thank you. Just real quick, so with cigarette tax revenues down from lower consumption, what's the UH's plan to stabilize the cancer center and promote financial self-sufficiency?
Well, right now we're trying to find efficiencies between JABSOM and the cancer center. They do occupy an existing the same property. We're also looking to see if there can be some kind of financial assistance provided by Manoa in the meantime for the cancer center in order to get them through this period of time when the cigarette tax is currently held just for debt service and not for operations.
So when are you guys going to have a finalized plan that you can present to us?
I don't know the exact date line, but I will work with the cancer center in order to finalize a plan for you to show how we can stabilize that situation.
Sure.
Yeah,
If you're done with.
Go ahead.
I just want to state, many years we have tried to consolidate the JAPSON and the Cancer Center to save funding, and it didn't occur. So I'm hopeful that you folks are going to make it happen because, this is ongoing and UH keeps fighting it. So
I know that
your study that said it should have been combined.
I know that there is effort right now that's going on to try to find those efficiencies, Chair, and we will get that information to you as soon as it's available, for sure.
Are you guys looking at performance contracting as well that can save monies as far as efficiencies and utilities?
It's something that we can definitely, I have not personally looked at it, but it's something that I can touch base with the operating business units to find out if we can start looking at those types of.
Your community colleges did that, and they did a lot of savings, and they had a lot of efficiencies that is occurring as of today. So I hope you folks will follow suit. I know Manoa didn't want to do it, and your community colleges did it. So
We'll certainly take a look at that, Chair.
Thank you. Office of the Governor.
Morning, Chair.
Morning. I guess what we're trying to get is a timeline to receive the cost estimates for the flood disaster recovery and relief efforts.
So we're in process now. Actually, I just came from the latest meeting of that. So The Hawai'i and FEMA went out this weekend. The counties have already been conducting their own. The teams went out to do the assessments. As you may know, FEMA is a little delayed in their responses, but our teams are working as we're hoping to have that, if not this week, the beginning of next, to get at least the initial estimate of what the disaster may look like. We have individual reports from the department so far, but we want to provide a comprehensive list to the legislature.
Okay, so you're thinking by Wednesday, Tuesday?
By next week, yes, yes. As soon as we're working on it, they work straight through the weekend. We're working on it as fast as we can. So hopefully we can have it beginning of next week.
Okay, do you think you can give us preliminary numbers by Monday?
I think so,
Okay,
yes.
because we're gonna probably take up the budget next week, finalize it, but we want to wait to see what those numbers are gonna be.
Absolutely.
Follow-up question with regards to FEMA as well. And my understanding is, Mr. Chair, is that your FEMA arrangements and communication has to be done while we're in session. So just to let you know that when we did the 2006 the disaster that we had, when I worked with Civil Defense, Senior Senator Inouye made sure that we had all the figures done prior to session ending, and that had to go to FEMA during our lifetime here at the legislature.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Chair.
So your process is gonna be what? That everyone consolidates to the governor's office and you'll send us, or is it gonna go?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, so we have our team in place that's already working on this under Hawai'i, General Logan, those things. And so we're pulling it all together, and then we would like to also come to you with some recommendations about how we could begin to fund, because there's money going out the door already, right? With the activation of the National Guard and all those things that we're having to pay. And, at this point, nothing's coming in from the feds. So we'll come to you right away.
Do you know how much the state has spent so far?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I know we're spending, and I can have maybe if General Logan's here, but we've probably spent anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million or so, just initially.
Okay, but the process is that people, the counties, the departments, I guess even private landowners, they all provide their numbers to.
So the private side, I don't think we're going to have that ready yet, right? So this is state facilities. The counties are doing their own. And we're working hand in hand with them, but they have their own process. For the state, we're looking at state facilities, state impacts, bringing that in. So schools, roads, all those things. And then we're also working the private side to figure that out. We're not going to have the private side by Monday. I'll tell you that right now. Like we can have estimates maybe, but it's a difficult, slow process, laborious process. So,
well, if we can get estimates, then we can at least put a placeholder in.
right. Absolutely. And I think so we can have a little tighter estimate on the state side and a looser estimate on the private side.
So the process is that once that data is gathered, it goes to Hawai'i and they verify if it qualifies or not.
Right. So so that was the meeting we actually just came for. So we're going through the process to make sure we can, as much as we can, follow the process of FEMA to hopefully get reimbursement. Now, whether we do or not, that's going to be a different discussion because of changes, right? But that's the goal, is to, and luckily I say luckily, but unfortunately the team is experienced in this, and so they have experience as far as following that FEMA process to look for the maximum reimbursement.
Okay, so what about the costs that cannot get reimbursed that Hawai'i is going through now?
Right. So that's the discussion I think we're going to have. We're going to have with the legislature to figure out we know there's definitely going to be a state share, right, in any of these disasters. I don't think we're going to see, I'm speculating a little bit, but I don't think we're going to see the 100% reimbursement the day after. So if you look at Lahaina, the day after Lahaina, the president gave the disaster declaration. We've been how long already, and that hasn't happened. We don't know the timeline for that. So all that to say is the state will probably bear a significantly larger burden than we would have had previously in other disasters. But we don't know those numbers yet.
Okay, thank you.
Chair, follow-up quick question. Will, as you're discussing this, we were just at an informational briefing concerning agriculture. After the first low estimated 25 million. Now we're probably north of 60 million. Are those numbers as far as losses for the agricultural infrastructure, all that, are those numbers being brought to governor's office as well and be included, or is that coming through a different angle?
So I would actually refer to our ag chair. But I think what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to aggregate these numbers. We're pulling all the departments in to make sure we're following a process. But the priority is going to be the state and then the private to try. I mean, they're running parallel to each other, but we can get one first and the other one will take longer. But as far as that, I know that, and I mean, the ag department, I believe, is following up already. So all that to say, we are going to try to get those numbers in so we can report back to you.
Yeah, so we can get it back to chair.
And we can get out there and see what we can do for the ag.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Chair. So, with prioritizing the state and city facilities, what is the actual damage to the state and city facilities that maybe could go a little slower to take care of the people that is suffering now and getting help to them now instead of, wait, let's go fix up the city and state stuff first and the roads. But then, the guys over there got to wait in the mud and in the mosquitoes and everything else. I mean, I understand what you guys saying, but that's not what the community want to hear. That we take care of our state stuff first, taxpayers later. Taxpayers is paying for the state buildings to be fixed and the city buildings to be fixed. We got to prioritize them,
right?
Not state and city facilities.
So Senator, I think maybe I misstated or misunderstanding.
Please,
so
explain.
What I was saying is that we can get a quicker handle on the impacts to the state and county facilities before we can do that quicker to understand the financial impact to those facilities before we can figure out the private sector, the taxpayers, the residents. However, the response that we're doing is geared all towards the residents, right? So all the programs we've launched, Department of Ag launched the Ag Grant Program. We're looking at a small business grant program. We're looking at, all the surge that we've done to provide the resources for the food bank, for housing. We stood up the Schofield Inn. So our priority is the residents that have been affected by this completely, utterly. I'm just talking about what the chair has asked was give us some estimates on the fiscal impacts. And so we can get those easier than we can the community. But to Senator Richards, what he was asking, we're doing that at the exact same time. And we're responding to the community and trying to help them out. So you're absolutely right, Senator. We need to help them.
Thank you, Chair.
Short question. Thanks, Will. Governor's office supports HB 1800. However, in your comments, you did note that there are 2 objections to the budget. Can you explain?
Sure. So one of them has to do with a statutory requirement for us to submit for transitional costs. So it's $100,000 whenever there's an election for the gubernatorial election. And again, hopefully we won't need that.
That's for 2027.
This is for the transition, the end of the election this year into 2027. So it was not included in the HD1 version of the budget. So we're just requesting that as we're required to do. The other one is, and I think there was a testifier earlier, it has to do with the search and rescue position that was put in. So governor totally supports that idea. But as you know, positions, attaching these kind of agencies or departments to the office of the governor, they don't make sense. We're here to execute with the departments. And so we had recommended that this be put where it should be in, I think it was a DLNR or HCC. But anyways, an appropriate agency, not the office of the governor.
Yeah, thank you, Chair.
Going back to the stream cleanup, who enforces the fact that the counties are supposed to oversee clearing the streams or finding private landowners for not clearing streams?
That I don't know. I could maybe ask the Attorney General's office to come up or DLNR. She left. She left.
Okay, maybe you can just follow up.
We can follow up. Sure. Sorry, I don't
Because
know
then,
off the top of my head.
it seems like there's quite a bit of streams out there that haven't been dredged for quite some time.
Can I add to that too? When the Manoa stream happened several years ago, I think there was immediate help with the community, and I can't remember who did help with the cleanup, but they did an emergency cleanup
Yeah, and I know, and again, I'm defer to that, but I know DLNR has been out in the community. I know, there's been other state departments that have been assisting, and we're standing up as part of this thing, the part of the process of recovery, DCMP, the workers to folks for caseworkers to get folks the things that they need, right? So either bring them into state programs, whether it's TANF, whether it's, whatever that looks like as far as to help the residents directly. So we're working on that as well.
Okay, but maybe if you can follow up on the enforcement of
streets,
stream cleanup.
absolutely, yes.
Okay, quick question for judiciary. So you guys had asked for, I think a little more than $3 million for security.
Yes, Chair.
So what are the national best practices for courthouse security that include training and equipment?
There are several different kinds of best practices. The first one, and I think probably the primary one for this, would be the number of staffing and the location of staffing of, security personnel in our courthouses. So,
But are you guys working with DLE on those standards?
we have been sharing with and communicating with DLE about the standards. Yes.
Okay, so they cannot absorb the taking on that responsibility.
At this time, yes, that's correct.
Yeah, we can follow up with them. And okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
And you want to come up real quick? Just about the enforcement of stream cleanup. Do you know the law?
I don't know the law.
Okay.
And I apologize for leaving, but I was on a great.
You need to sit down and
Sorry.
it's to be recorded.
But I was on a great call about the potential lawsuit on the mail-in voting executive order that was just passed. But I don't know the law about the stream cleanup. I
Okay, my
apologize.
understanding is that it's the county that is responsible for cleaning public streams and enforcing and fining private landowners for not cleaning their portion. But you guys need to check. Is that
We can check it out. And I do know that Department of Transportation is working on some of that stream cleanup right now to get some of the larger materials and debris out of the way.
I mean, with my quick read of the law, doesn't have any type of penalty for the counties if they don't actually follow the law. So
Okay.
that's something that we might need to look at.
Yeah, and we'll also talk with DLNR. Is DLNR here?
But it's state law. Too.
Ryan,
You're
do you know any more than that than I do? And Kira? These two may have more information than me.
Regarding enforcement authority, hi, Ryan. Regarding
Ryan, you have to speak in the mic.
Ryan Kanakole, DLNR. To my right, Kira Kahane, also DLNR. Regarding enforcement authority over streams, DLNR. Oh. I can't read this statute.
It's too small.
Yeah. Can you summarize? Sorry.
Hi, Kira Kahahane, Commission on Water Resource Management. Responsibility for maintaining stream channels falls under HRS 46-11.5. So under that statute, it's the responsibility of each of the counties to provide for that regular and routine maintenance. Some of the counties actually have, like here, City and County of Honolulu has in their ordinances, specific county ordinances that allow them to enforce stream maintenance responsibility, whereas other counties rely just on Chapter 46. I'm not aware of any enforcement authority. The commission doesn't have enforcement authority regarding stream maintenance. We do encourage people to undertake it voluntarily. I would need to confer with Department of the Attorney General regarding any kind of enforcement power or fines.
To my knowledge, nor does the department overall have enforcement authority. I mean, we do have streams and jurisdiction over certain parts of streams, and that's our liability and responsibility.
Can I add as well, if DOT is involved in helping out with the clearances?
It's not about who's helping who?
Yeah, but
just
I
wanna know
think-
whose responsibility is
But I think if DOT already as energy as Ed Sniffen is, he's gonna call his people to help clean. Just make sure that you have the amount of charges of what is involved so that we can collect from the city and county, just as an just to add.
And
Make sure he makes.
Okay, so it says here that it shall be the responsibility of the county to maintain all channels, stream beds, stream banks, and drainage. Unless channels, stream beds, stream banks, and drainage ways are privately owned or owned by the state. But who enforces to make sure that the county does that? Because it doesn't seem like that's been, happening.
currently, we don't have, at DLNR, we don't have the statutory enforcement
So
authority.
you see the county's responsibility, yeah.
Well, there's some liability too, because if DOT is going in,
No, but the question is who
Exactly.
enforces?
yeah, but.
Who enforces to make sure that the county does what the statute says?
Exactly, but I'm talking about maintaining it like immediate, so they're already doing it.
Yep.
So make sure they have a cost factor, so that there's a billing, but there's also a liability.
But I think that we should be relooking at this
Yeah.
because there should be mandatory annual evaluations or every 5 years. Because when I looked at the county's website, I mean, like, as you mentioned, the ordinances show that DFM is supposed to have a running list online of when they actually review the stream, either annually or semi-annually, and then they're supposed to list it on their website. So I saw 2021 and I saw 2025 and not every stream. But I'm not sure who requires the county to actually follow the state law.
Question. So in the event that the stream overflows and causes damages, whether it's a state, city, or a private entity, is there a responsibility that we have to, the government, the city, or the state, or the private entity has to pay damages to these people?
That's
Their
a question of
responsibility.
liability and who.
That's right.
Defer to a council.
I imagine we would get sued. Whether or not there's a basis for that suit, I think will vary depending on what the facts are.
Okay, so if it's a private entity and they have damages, the government's not responsible for their damages or to fund any kind of repairs.
I would say generally not based on what you just said. I think what would happen is if there was damage from the stream, we would need to look at what was in the stream that caused the damage. If it was just an overflow and nothing else, then I don't think the
But
state.
what
would
about,
be
it could be neglect though, right? Because if it's not cleared and sediment builds up and then now you have flooding because the water can't flow out.
Mhm. Again, if that's a city obligation, then that would be, we would say that they're liable for this. I'm getting text messages that might have answers to some of these questions, so.
And it says that the city can actually fine a civil penalty not to exceed $500 each day. But I'm not sure when was the last time they actually did that.
And they would levy that fines on the private entity.
Yeah.
Or the.
Well, according to the statute, but I'm just asking when was any of this done and who checks?
I don't know who checks. My text is saying, though, that it is correct. If it's a private stream owner and there's damage, they're liable. If it's the county and it's their neglect, then they're liable.
And then the last big storm and stream that overflowed was the Manoa case, so maybe you can review that as well.
Right.
So right now, in the case of shorelines, right, DLNR has the authority to go in and enforce when you have private property owners that are, for example, growing vegetation that blocks
Yes.
access, that sort of thing. In the case, well, in certain stream cases, would something like that be what you'd imagine be helpful?
That type of enforcement authority?
Yeah, where there's, not where counties might have obvious responsibility, but in other cases where there's a clear public risk, where there's a private property owner that might otherwise not be
I have a
doing anything.
Seems like there's a gap in that enforcement authority now. So if that was the prerogative of the legislature to provide that authority, then I mean, I'm assuming that it would fall upon either my department because of that.
I was making sure that
public lands, and we would
Well,
be
that-
public.
no, that's what I'm
authority
asking.
on that, but,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so the law needs to be reviewed, I think, because obviously streams aren't getting cleared on a regular basis, and which are causing quite a bit of problems.
Chair, just a follow-up.
Question.
Yes, the question is, your department and the city department has complaints, but the part is who follow up with the complaints of these areas? I'm only gonna talk on the west side.
No,
I'm
so
not gonna
that, no,
go-
but that's what we're asking.
Yeah.
So the law needs to be changed because right now the state doesn't have any oversight in finding the counties or holding the counties accountable for this statute.
And even private homeowners that backfilling the,
Yeah, so all of that is right now is all in the county. But who makes sure the county does their job? Right now, there's nothing, it's silent. And so that's where I think we're gonna have to look at changing this law to make sure that this is being followed through on and implemented.
and also post them too on their website.
No, it's supposed to be. So the county ordinance shows that it needs to be on the website, but I only found 2 years. Okay, I guess we should probably review that though, because there's huge budget impacts. You know, it's cheaper to clean it even regularly instead of the situation we're in now.
Chair, I got confirmation that nobody in the state has authority to enforce those things. So over the summer break, we can work with DLNR
Or if
and DOT.
if we find a bill. We find a bill, yeah.
If you find one, send it down to us.
Yeah. Okay. Department of Ag.
Good morning.
Morning. Okay, so right now, our understanding is that only UH and DOT have lobbying contracts for the federal government. But your department was in the process of a procurement for a contract, and then it was online. And then I'm not sure what happened. If you can explain
Sure.
how the solicitation was removed or amended in the procurement portal online.
Sure, we were in discussion because the new, with the Act 231 and 236, there were some additional responsibilities for the department, particularly the biosecurity director that was to come online January 1st, 2027. And I wanted to be sure as chair that the new biosecurity director had some prep for that position and then some onboarding.
But why does it have to be a lobbying contract for that?
It wasn't, I'm sorry. So we were in discussion and my first thought was, hey, we go sole source. And while we were in discussion, very efficient staff put together some stuff. We all worked and then found out during the process that it wasn't going to be talking through procurement, bad idea, we're not going to go sole source. Then we said, well, the amount of funding that we're asking is over the limit for the budget execution policy. So we have to reverse,
So
take
how
a
much
step
was the
back.
contract supposed to be for?
Original sole source was 18 months for 250.
250,000.
Yeah.
And the responsibilities were to just do what?
Responsibility was legislative and to.
That's lobbying.
Well,
Because why?
oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have
Isn't
said
what
that. You're right. It would have been, that would have been the initial, but we found out that that wasn't probably a good idea. You have to be outside
But
of
you already
government.
have a position that helps with legislative.
We do.
So why do you have to contract another position to do
Because
that?
that person was going to work with staff and prepare the biosecurity director for, deputy director for the department and what we're working on with biosecurity, with regard to biosecurity. And it was to establish a, from the border in to control like PPC, plant pest control, from the border out. And that person was going to work with those two other staff that we were going to hire and prepare the groundwork for 2030 when we take on the HISC and all the others. So
Yeah, and the MQs for that were what?
Pardon?
Because that seems quite technical.
yes, so we were going to do another RP
So
for
who does your legislative affairs now?
It would be Cedric Gates,
And
who,
he's an employee?
no, not right now.
What
No.
is he?
He's on his own.
So you contract him?
No, right now, his last day was sometime in February.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
that means he doesn't do it.
he doesn't do it.
Yeah, so I asked you who is doing it?
Oh, Cedric is actually helping out the department.
For
but
free?
I don't pay
Volunteering?
him. The state does not pay him.
I spoke with him and he is volunteering to help.
Who was paying him before? The state. He was serving as in a planner position as the administrative assistant and executive assistant type of role, because the whole legislative process is very familiar to him. And he was meeting with every administrator, asking them what their needs were. I don't want to use the word intimate, but it was intimate because he really got down into the nitty gritty of what they needed.
Who
And
is taking his place?
right now, we don't have anybody.
So that position is vacant.
His position, the planner 5, right now, I think I'm going to say it's an 89-day hire. His name is Riley. And he's helping us with, like, for instance, the small business bill that's going through right now. I've asked him to contact Commissioner Psyche, and he's working with the National Insurance Board to try to get some data on who in the United States has any kind of small business insurance to help farms and small businesses recover from this type of disaster. So we have a meeting scheduled, I think it's April 4th. We have a Zoom call. So he's doing that kind of work. It's legislative, it's processes, but it's not really lobbying because he's doing the internal legwork
So
to
he
set.
doesn't come to the Capitol.
He does.
Oh, so it is lobbying.
He represents us. Like he'll stand up and say when no one else can be there, he'll say, I stand in
I
support.
think according to the ethics definition, that is lobbying. If you're here at the Capitol,
As he does get paid though, he's an
I know, but
employee.
if you understand, go look up what a registered lobbyist does.
I will.
I think, well, you might have to intervene. Yeah, thank you.
And only if he claimed as a status that he's a lobbyist, because he has to register anyway.
I think the definition is if you're meeting with so many people and he's 89-day hire, he's a contract. So it's not an employee.
He's an 89-day temporary hire. But as I said, I put him on other work as
No,
well.
that's fine, but you might want to go look up what a registered lobbyist is specifically. But you're saying he doesn't lobby.
I'm going to say he represents the department as his 89-day status allows him to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he erred then, because he was volunteering, but you're saying he's an 89.
No, this is another gentleman.
Or the other guy. Got it.
Yeah. Okay, that's just going to be a brick wall. There's no sense in rehashing the same thing. Okay, thank you. Okay, any questions for any of the departments? Okay, the committee received quite a bit of testimony, and to provide the committee with sufficient time to review and hopefully get the numbers from the administration on the impacts for the recent Kona Loa disaster. We'll defer decision-making to Wednesday, April 8th, 10 a.m. in this room.
Possible I can make one comment on 3 more.
No, sorry. Okay, we're gonna adjourn, and then for the committee, we just have a couple of more agendas. Okay, calling the 10:01 agenda to order. This is House Bill 2095, and we'll also be deferring to Wednesday, April 8th, 10:01 in this. Okay, adjourned. Okay, this is the 10:03 agenda. This starts with House Bill 1166 and ends with House Bill 2599. Okay, so we got quite a bit of testimony on all of these items. So before we make final decision making, we want quite a little more time to review testimony and decide if we need to make amendments or not. So we'll defer this agenda or the items on this agenda to Monday, April 6th, 10:31 in this room. Thank you.